There are secrets Hollywood kept hidden beneath its perfect smile. And few are more haunting than the one behind America's sweetheart, Mary Tyler Moore. She made the world laugh. Her charm lit up millions of living rooms. But behind that glow, there was silence. A silence filled with the weight of affection unspoken, and love that never found its way to daylight. For years, whispers followed her through studio hallways, quiet rumors of glances shared on set, late-night rehearsals that lingered just a little too long, a warmth between co-stars that the camera could barely disguise. Some called it fantasy. Others swore it was real. She called it a terrible waste. This is the untold love story of Mary Tyler Moore, the woman who changed television forever, yet couldn't change the loneliness behind the laughter. Hollywood has always had its secrets, but few were whispered as softly, or as dangerously, as the one surrounding Mary Tyler Moore. She was America's sweetheart, graceful, kind, unshakably perfect. But behind the laughter, the studio lights, and the sound of canned applause, there were rumors the network would never dare to print. Crew members spoke of late rehearsals that ran far past midnight. A door left unlocked in Studio 4B, a shadow leaving through the side exit, just before dawn. Some said it was innocent. Two co-stars rehearsing lines, chasing perfection. Others swore they'd seen more. More than friendship. More than professionalism. By 1973, tabloids began to circle. Articles hinted at a secret romance between Mary and a well-known leading man, one who had once shared the screen with her years before. No one ever named him, but everyone already knew who they meant. When asked years later, Mary smiled that familiar, practiced smile, and said only one line. The amazing thing is, we never had an affair. Northern accent. I always thought it was a terrible waste. To most, it sounded like denial. To those who knew her, it sounded like heartbreak disguised as grace. Whether it was truth or rumor, no one could ever prove it. But the whispers never stopped. Not even after the cameras did. Fame has a cruel way of testing love. At first, Mary and Grant Tinker looked like Hollywood's golden couple, the star and the producer, hand in hand, building an empire of light. But somewhere between the headlines and the hush of late-night editing rooms, something began to fade. Rumors said Grant grew restless, lost in meetings and contracts, while Mary disappeared behind the mask of perfection. Some whispered that their home on Benedict Canyon felt more like an empty set after the applause had died. Others swore the tension on the Mary Tyler Moore show was no longer just acting, that the smiles on camera hid a marriage quietly cracking behind the scenes. In 1974, when the show reached its peak, the whispers grew louder. A quiet separation, never confirmed, never denied. Hearts apart, yet bound by success. The woman who gave America hope was slowly losing her own. One night, according to a crew member's memoir, Mary stayed alone long after filming wrapped. She stood beneath the stage lights, eyes reflecting the glow of the empty studio, and whispered, "It's strange, to make millions feel less lonely, and to be the loneliest one in the room." By 1977, as the final episode aired, the laughter faded into silence. Now, Grant Tinker walked away. The empire they built together dissolved, like a reel of film catching fire in the projector's heat. Mary smiled for the cameras one last time, but those who knew her said the sparkle wasn't the same. Behind every bright light in Hollywood lies a shadow, and hers was the shape of a love story that fame forgot. When the cameras stopped, so did the laughter. The studio lights dimmed, and the applause that once filled her life faded into echoes. Mary Tyler Moore, the face of hope, the laughter of a generation, was suddenly just Mary. No scripts. No characters to hide behind. Only silence, and the company of her own thoughts. The tabloids had already written their stories. Whispers of an affair, the quiet collapse of a marriage, the star who smiled for America while her own world unraveled behind drawn curtains. But what they never wrote was the loneliness that followed. She turned to the bottle, as many do in Hollywood when the applause fades. Friends said she drank to fill the quiet. Others said she drank to forget the faces that had once filled it. In private moments, she wrote letters never sent, apologies, regrets, memories. In one of them, she confessed, "I gave laughter to millions, but forgot how to keep some for myself." Yet Mary was never one to stay broken. When her body began to fail, when the nerves in her hands trembled and her eyesight dimmed, she faced it the same way she faced every challenge, with grace, with courage, with that quiet fire the world had fallen in love with. By the 1980s, she had rebuilt herself, not as the woman America wanted, but as the woman she finally chose to be. She spoke openly about addiction, about recovery, about forgiveness, and in doing so, she became something rarer than a star. She became a survivor. And maybe that's the real secret Hollywood never told, that behind every perfect smile, there's a woman who once had to teach herself how to smile again. Time has a way of softening even the sharpest lights. Decades have passed since Mary Tyler Moore first threw her hat into the Minneapolis sky. That single defiant gesture that told every woman watching, "You can make it after all." She changed television. Not with scandal, not with spectacle, but with strength. Her show dared to make a single woman's independence the centerpiece of American life, in an era that still told women to smile and stand beside someone else's dream. But the light she gave the world came at a cost. Behind the laughter, there were tremors, marriages collapsing, private struggles hidden behind rehearsed joy, a quiet war between the woman she played and the woman she was. Those who worked with her said that when the cameras stopped, she often lingered, standing beneath the stage lights long after everyone had gone home. Maybe she was listening for the echoes of laughter, or maybe she was asking the silence a question only fame could answer. Was it worth it? She never said. But her eyes, in every interview, seemed to hold both answers at once, the triumph and the ache. When she passed in 2017, tributes poured in from across generations. They called her a pioneer, a feminist icon, a woman who made the world brighter. And they were right. But perhaps what made her unforgettable was not her perfection. It was her humanity. Mary Tyler Moore reminded us that behind every flawless smile lies a heartbeat that bleeds. Behind every icon stands a shadow only she can understand. Fame gave her everything, and quietly took everything back. Yet even now, when the reels fade and the screens go dark, we still remember the woman who dared to laugh through her pain, and, somehow, made us believe we could too. Because behind every icon, there's a heartbeat history tried to forget.